Hey yogis, it's Becca. I'm here to talk about the unsupported headstand and the supported headstand and different variations and different ways to move in and out of them successfully for yourself. I know that some of you have probably been practicing for a really long time and you can get in and out of them very easily, but for those of you who are struggling with it a little bit and kind of figuring out exactly where should my hands be, where should my head be, exactly what's going on with my core, we're going to play a little bit around with being away from the wall. When I first started doing inversions, I was always going up against the wall, and I think that's fabulous, but there does come a time when we have to trust ourselves and move a little bit away from the wall and kind of see if we can sort of gather where we are in time and space just with our own body and not rely on the wall behind us. So we'll play a little bit with that. So today we'll start right now with our unsupported headstand. So what that means is that your head is not supported with your hands. So we're basically looking at a tripod stand. The hands are grounded down, and just like any arm balance that you would do, the fingertips are really key here. We want to press down with them so that it takes the pressure off the wrists as much as possible. So if you have your hands pressing down but the fingers are really soft, you're going to find that there's not enough grounding or stability with them. So we really want to create almost suction cups onto the ground. So if I was to lift my palm, that's kind of what it looks like. You've got almost a little center that's lifted, like an arch. And then all of your 5 fingers are sort of pressing in towards the earth. So you've got the knuckles, the fingers, and then the outside of the hand pressing down, shoulder width apart. As you start to come forward, elbows over top of the wrist line, just like in a crow pose or any arm balance. As you tuck down your chin, let the top of your head come down towards the floor. And if you notice, I can see my fingertips. If I look a little side to side, I can see that I've got the triangle from the top of my head all the way down to my hands, elbows still over top of my wrists. If you're in a position where you're here, you might just stay here and practice pressing into the ground, pulling through your core. Otherwise, the knees can lift up into a downward dog variation. Walk your hips up a little bit so that they go over top of your shoulders or as close as you can. One of the things I find is people let go of the engagement, so all of the pressure is on your head. That's not a great place to be in, so keep grounding down through your palms, and then maybe you can test what it's like to bring one of your knees on top of your elbows, and then come down, and then maybe you bring the opposite knee on, and then bring it down, and then come down to your knees, take a child's pose, and you can rest there for a couple of minutes. So if you're familiar with that, which is going up into a prep for unsupported headstand, we'll do that right now. And then I'll show you a couple alternate variations to move into the headstand. So as the hands come down, once again, tuck down through your chin, tuck your toes under, send your tail up, downward dog. You can bring your knees gently on top of your elbows, keep the toes touching. Press them in, pull your core in, hips high. So hips not low. If the hips are low, it's going to be very hard to get up into this position. So lift up, pull the core in, squeeze those elbows together. Yeah, press down with the hands. Not a lot of pressure in my head right now. Pretty easy breezy there. Got no neck issues. And then maybe you start to experiment and lift up. You try, see what happens. Maybe you can get that leg up towards the ceiling. And then take a moment and use that control and lower it down. Maybe you do the opposite leg and lift it up towards the sky. And then you bring it all the way back down. Good. Take some time, come back down, go into your child's pose, and let it go for a couple of breaths. So we start slow, right? We don't want to just, boom, kind of like flip those legs up and have no control. And that's where a lot of us roll over onto the ground, which I mean is going to happen probably if you have a little bit of fun with the poses. But we're trying to develop a little bit of strength and a bit of control with it. Okay, so here's going up with 2 legs, all right? So as the hands ground down, tuck your chin under once again. Create the tripod. I see my hands. I tuck my toes under. I lift up my hips and I walk. Now maybe your knees can come on top of your elbows. And if you can lift your hips up just enough to pull your core in, maybe you can take the knees in towards the chest. Good. And then maybe you start to draw the heels down towards the bum and the knees go up towards the sky. Keep the rib cage drawn in. And if you're experienced enough where you want to give it a try and you're all the way up, start to extend those legs up, core is tucked in.
Just take a watch when you're up that you're not hanging through the core. This is very hard on the body. Lots of weight in my head there. So pull, 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 pull. Feel your toes stretching up towards the sky. Belly button to the spine. And then maybe you can come down with control. Heels towards the bum. Knees in towards the chest. And then knees down onto your arms. Good. Put the toes down and go into a child's pose. All right, let's go one more time. This time, if you want to play a little bit more with it, you can go with the legs right from the floor in that downward dog position. And that's just a little bit more experience, but you can always give it a try. So we'll go with one leg, and then we'll go with the variation with two. So there's always somewhere to go in these poses. You never have to feel stuck. And then within that range, there's so many variations, right? Okay, so let's go again. All right, hands come down, elbows press in, and of course we do these after you've warmed up a few times, yeah? Tuck down the chin, let the top of the head rest down towards the earth. Toes tuck under, and lift your legs up, or lift your hips up. And as the fingertips are grounded, once again, don't lose the engagement. Elbows are towards the side. Keep them pressing in. There's like this magnet between the two elbows. And then take one of your thighs and lift it up. And maybe today all you're doing is taking that bottom leg and just kicking a little bit. Finding that place. And maybe you can find that bit of a hover, like super solid, or maybe your bottom knee is bent, whatever is best for you. Pull, 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 squeeze, and then meet those two up to the top. Yes, beautiful. And then take some time and slowly start to lower one of your legs back down towards the floor. And touch the knees down, a little child's pose. And then roll ourselves, coming all the way back up. Okay, we just got one more. You guys ready? Okay, so here's the other variation, and that is both legs come up at the same time. It's a little bit more challenging, but you can kind of just play with that a little bit, okay? So once again, go up against the wall and then start to wean yourself off of it, so eventually you're free flow. All right, hands are down, okay. All right, and we don't really want to do all of these in a row so much because, of course, as you can tell, even I'm getting a little tired demoing them. So just take a break, do your child's pose, maybe do some standing series and come back to it, of course. Okay, hands down, tuck the chin, top of the head towards the floor, get my little pigtails out of the way. As the toes tuck under, once again, lift those hips up. Okay, so you will not get the legs up if your bum is curled under. It's not going to happen because it's too heavy. The legs are too heavy. So walk back your hips towards the ceiling like you're sitting on it. Be right on the tippy toes. Pull your belly in and maybe you can start to press up those legs. Yes, toes lifting, thighs squeezing, cores pulled in, elbows pressing in, not a lot of pressure on your head. Good, and then maybe you press the bum back slightly so that you balance out what's going on with your legs. Try not to tuck the bum under quite yet. Use the core. And send those legs down towards the floor. Beautiful. Soften up